Welcome in, everyone, to another episode of the iConis podcast. Today's episode, Checkmate. Ah, roll the credits.
Hey everyone, thank you for tuning into the iConis podcast. This is Barry 3D on your over here. On my side, as always, is the one and only.
Rod C.
And we are always joined by our brother from another mother, the one and only.
Larry Douglas Auto.
There we go. And we are getting into today. That's why, as you heard in the opening, we were talking about Checkmate. You're gonna be like, check what? Check who? Checkers? No, not Checkers. That was a club that was in Montreal, stayed open at 6 o'clock in the morning. No, I'm not going back to my dancing past. We're talking about Checkmate. So before we get into that, remember, like, subscribe, and share. Don't let the show be a secret. And also, we got a Patreon page, we got a coffee page. Please put in a donation or join. And we got videos on there too that are just for members only. Okay. And now, before we go on that, where can you find me? Simply, you can find me at barry3d.com. Barry3d.com. Put it in there. You'll see the links to this show. And of course, where I'm going to be performing live, my stand up between here and Ottawa and even Toronto. So, going around. Rod, where can we find you?
I make it simple. You can find me on the World Wide Web on Instagram at Mr. Rod C. Find me there. Find me everywhere. We're good to go. We'll leave it at that. All right.
Right on. And anytime he's DJing, you just go up to him and make a request. You tell him you want to hear Saturday Love and just say, wink, wink. It's from the iConis podcast. He might give a stern look and give me a bad call, but it's okay. He knows where it's coming from. And Larry, where can we find you?
On Facebook's Forgotten, Obscure, and Underrated Comic Characters group.
Yes. I remember everyone, when you have to join, you have to join, you have to join. You also have to join and accept the rules, right? And if you accept the rules, please read the rules, please respect the rules. And then you and everyone else will have a good time. Don't get no strikes around you and don't get banned from the group. It's all about respect. All right, cool. Okay, then. Now, on top of that, Larry, shout out because Larry does all the shorts on our YouTube page. So make sure to check those out. Larry, thank you very much for your knowledge and your time. It's fun to watch, and I've got a lot more to go to edit. So yeah, okay, that's on me. On top of that, we've got our beautiful template. And if you need any kind of work done, graphic design, be it if it's for a digital or physical media, there's only one person and one person you should go to, and that is
J Bird Digital Art.
Mr. Jason Reese, J Bird Digital Arts. You tell him you heard about him on the iConis podcast, and he'll give you a discount on the work. All right. We've done a round table, and shout out to all you for always tuning in and watching our videos or listening to them wherever you go, be it if you watch it or listen to it on Podbean, where we put, and then wherever you get your podcast from. If you have a request of a character you want us to talk about, questions, write them, write us. We'll answer. We're very active. Okay, so today we're talking about Checkmate. And sometimes we just whatever comes to mind. Sometimes there's a method to the madness. Sometimes there isn't. I can walk by something. Rod can walk by and have a inspirational thought. Larry might turn around and post something, but this is a good character to talk about. And that's exactly how it comes about, unless you all give us some direction. So we just do this to make it interesting. And top of it, we talk more about the characters that you might not know. Everyone talks about the Supermans and the Batmans, and we do too, to a certain degree. But at the same time, we talk about the other characters in the world, because the world has more than 5 heroes in it. Okay. So who is Checkmate? Is the question. Is it a person, place, or thing? Oh, well, there's only one way to find out. Larry, let us know the history.
Okay, well, Checkmate is an organization that was created by Paul Kupperberg and Steve Irwin, first appearing in Action Comics number 589. It had a precursor organization known as the Agency, which appeared in Vigilante, the Adrian Chase Vigilante. And basically, they needed a replacement organization for the Agency. That was headed up by, Amanda Waller. Got her hands in everything, doesn't she? Yeah. Paul Kupperberg and Steve Irwin created it. And with a little help from John Byrne. And they basically had some interesting concepts. Everything was based as far as how the agency's organization was done on the chessboard. So
Absolutely.
I'll turn that back over to you, Barry, to go from there.
All right. So as he said, everything was done as a chessboard. So here's what it is. So when Paul turned around and he's done interviews on this, he's actually mentioned one. No, he's never played chess in his life. But he just thought the concept was really cool. So I know there was a Checkmate TV show that was years ago prior to that, and it was no way influencing this one. So Checkmate Super Secret Agency, pretty much it's the DC version of Shield. There we go. Right? Love it. Now, why do I like Volume 1 more than Volume 2 and 3? Is because Volume 1 really did dive into the spy agency. So when I saw issue number 1, it says, he just doesn't fight crime, he eliminates it. I'm like, ooh. And a big shout out to my buddy Sean Blades. He was the one that turned around and got me into this comic book. And I think it came out in 1988, right? Issue number 1. Oh, okay. So
1988.
far, so good. 1988. So this is like catching me the tail end of school. When you read issue number 1, here's what got me. The cover was dynamic. Paul turned around and used chess pieces. So, you had your king, you had your queen in the organization, you had your knights. And so who you see in the cover in the field agents are knights. Now, this is the concept that really made me jump up. I was liking this because, it gave that 80s, late 80s, early 90s spy stuff. If you look at the movies that are out back then, it really felt right into that. And then on top of it, was the fact that the creator had had no knowledge of chess, which was even better. He just liked the concept of the pieces. And yeah, and then they had to turn around and they wanted to get some visibility to the project. So they got John Byrne to turn around and design the look. Even though he wasn't fully in there, his name was on there because he kind of designed that costume of the knight. But it was really it was Paul that was the writer, and it was Ian, correct? That was
Steve Irwin.
Steve Irwin. So Steve turned around and he was the one that designed the bases and fleshed out everything else. John was there as a mercenary. We're going to pay you this. You do this. Thanks a lot. He has no ownership to the properties at all. He was in and out. That was it for his time that was there. But the rest of it was done. Now the costume, very simple concept. It was like, everyone's in tights. So it was a tight black costume with gold around the chest that comes down the arms. It had the knight piece from chessboard on the chest. He had a mask. The mask was very simple, right? So, but remember, less is more. This is what I liked about it. And then when you open page number 1, you see it takes place in Chicago, which is a rare thing in the DC comic books, in my opinion. Usually Metropolis, Gotham, Star City. These are places that only exist in the DC universe, and not like in Marvel where they check or pick real locations. And when you open up first issue, you realize, someone walks into a place with a suitcase, and then they realize it's got a bomb in it, and they throw it, and then this one waiter turns around and you see it flipping in the air, and it bounces all over the place, and he caught it, and he's like, I caught it, we're good. Next panel, it explodes, leading into the terrorism aspect of it. Mm-hmm. And if you look at how it's laid out, it really looks like a late 80s action movie on page 1.
Yeah.
All right, I'm in. Then you hear about the organization, and very Black Ops-ish, okay, we go jogging, and there's a person we want to talk to, they distract her, and then someone comes up, hits her with an injection, and it's like, what the heck is going on? And they bring her in, into the organization. So it goes through her eyes. So the original Checkmate, no real superpowered people, big organization, and they're monitoring everything worldwide. And then they have their costumes, and then you realize you have to work up your level. So this is who we see is this agent on there, who we never see anything about his identity throughout the whole thing. So I know there's more to it, but this is what I liked. I like that, one, I knew it was an agency, so there's multiple people. 2, as a spy organization in a superhero world, how do you fit in? Make your agent look like a superhero.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's the best way. You hide their identity, and even if they get spotted out in the public, it's like, oh, there's a new superhero called the Knight. Like, that's it. You hide in plain sight. That was the beauty to me of this concept where Shield costumes, I mean, once again, there were the spandex ones. If you look at the, Nick Fury Agents of Shield back in the day in the 60s and how it comes out, but they didn't cover their faces. Their faces are all exposed when they're on the helicarrier or in public. And everyone knew it's like you're supposed to be a spy agency, but you're not hiding your face. This one just kind of played like he was a superhero, but then carried on from there. Okay. So Ron, did you check out anything with Checkmate here, just roughly?
Roughly, yes. So I mean, definitely back in the days, you had the organizations. You hear Batman, you hear Amanda Waller. Everybody kind of like talk about Checkmate. It's in the air. It's in the air. So I never got a chance to really follow it heavily like you did back then. But definitely for this, come back, and checking it out. So yeah, I definitely liked it because again, you knew that it was a secret organization for the government in that regard. It was that different kind of span off that do all this, the ops and everything along that line. And you brought up a good point in regards of how they hid in plain sight. It just makes me think like Men in Black. They're everywhere, and they were everywhere. And the best way to blend in is your face is hidden, of course, because you're secret ops. You're like James Bond. No one knows you're operative. Kind of scenario. And people see someone running around in tights and stuff like that. Okay, let me just see his action. His action will tell me if he's a good or a bad guy. Okay, he's good. All right, you're just gonna like leave it at that. You can just blend in and like I'm the knight. Wait, the knight in San Francisco? There's a knight in New York? Like, yo, you travel all over the place, Again, no one really gets to see to know it's not one and the same type of scenario. So I like that kind of concept in that sense that you can just basically intertwine between civilian and superheroes, and no one knows per se who they are until you really do some heavy digging. But if you're just a common local, superhero, oh, it's another person on my block. Okay, cool. You're gonna help me out on the next mission? Sure, I will. And that's it. So,
It's like, who watches the Watchmen?
who watches the Watchmen is exactly the good terminology to think here. So yeah, Checkmate is the DC version of Shield, and yeah, I like that concept, and we'll get into that later. But it's needed. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I thought so, especially with a lot of things in there. And Larry, what was your takeaway? Did you read the comics back in the day or even recently? I'm just talking Checkmate
I
Volume
didn't
1.
read them back in the day so much as I basically thumb through them every so often.
Right.
I was picking up like Legion and so on at that point.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and but they were very interesting. When I first saw it, actually, before I got to the last panel,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, is this Arsenal in a new costume, or maybe Hawk, or somebody like that? The guys who aren't powered, really.
Mhm.
But and Arsenal has worked for the government, so
Yep.
or Speedy or whatever you want to call them. Can't decide on a name. Whatever. I did find that reading it now that you could not get away with that storyline because of two things. One, the bad guys in it,
Uh-huh.
the language,
Uh-huh.
and the fact that, well, like it says, he eliminates it. Yeah, he does. He's got a license to kill, apparently,
Yep.
which you don't see with most heroes.
No. No. And that's he's a little daredevil, he's a little Punisher, it's a spy agency,
But I did like the way they laid out the organization.
Yeah, I'm about to come back to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The way that they so and this is what was interesting. So when I started reading it, I mean, I read issue 1 and here's a big reveal. I mean, come on, we're how many years? It's not a spoiler at this point. It was 1988. People, hold on. So you read the first story arc. The first story arc took place over 4 issues. right? And those 4 issues
Right.
are following the mission. Oh, it's 3
Right.
with the first night.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
my
just
mistake.
reread it last night.
Okay, then my mistake. I take it back. Hey, I'm not perfect. 3
No.
issues. Thank you, Larry. The
Mhm.
first 3 issue story arc deals with one knight we see in the field right now. And I mean, of course, he's got his pawn, who's the one that works underneath him and helps him out. And everyone in field operative has everything as a chess piece to know their rank. So
Right.
cool. And then he's fighting a racist, let's say, terrorist group within America. And when it gets to the reveal part, they're like, okay, you should have joined us and so forth. And he's like, nope, I would never join you guys. And the agent removes his glove and it's a black hand. I mean, not like it's like I'm talking, it's an African American person. That was the story of the agent we were following all the time. So I always make jokes that we couldn't have a black James Bond, just for the simple fact that, if he goes to European countries, it's like, who are you looking for? Yo, man, we're looking for that. But he's a secret agent. He stole the plans. Oh, wait, really? Can you describe him? He's the only black man in Europe driving an Aston Martin. Well, get him. Like, he's going to stick out like a sore thumb. And in this book, at one point, it almost hit that moment where the agent, the African American knight, this supposed to be, calls his pawn to bring in a vehicle because the bad guys are escaping. He goes, "Hey man, bring that car around the corner. I need a ride." And his pawn shows up in a Lamborghini, bright red Lamborghini, and it's like, aren't we supposed to be inconspicuous? No man, this is fast. At that point, though, we still don't know the agent is black. So this agent, his name is Gary Washington. Barry.
Mhm.
Okay. And Washington. Okay. Keep it real, yo. And that was amazing. So when you think about, let's sidestep here for a second, and we look at black heroes within the DC universe or characters. Sometimes people don't say that, but hey, we got this guy Gary Washington that went full out hardcore undercover mission to do this. It's one of those characters that doesn't seem to get. I don't mean you got to be black with an afro with a fist in it. I'm just saying it's a person of color in a high organization doing what he needs to do. And of course, then you look back, it's like, of course he's gonna fight the racist, you know. But it wasn't done in a typical trope way, so I liked it. So this is what it is, and then you realize, oh, that's the organization, and as Rod said before, they're all over. And then the
Right.
beauty is, all knights in the field, it's either they are biologically man or biologically a woman, and what I mean by that is how it's drawn. So in the costume, you can tell if someone is a man or a woman on their figure. I'm talking biologically. I know this. Here we are, right? So I'm being sensitive on that, and no judgment. It's how it is, right? Seeing a man or a woman in a costume, and it's like, okay, so you figure on, generally speaking, there's only 2 agents. On you don't know who's under the mask.
Right.
Anyone civilian wise might say, "Oh, here's the male pawn. There's a female.
Right.
Sorry, there's a male knight. There's a
Right.
female
Yep.
knight. Oh,
Yep.
Superman and Supergirl, Batman and Batgirl. It's I don't know, the Knight and Mare, or whatever it is. There's only 2 of them. Not realizing there's multiple people cycling through the costumes worldwide.
Right.
Beautiful, beautiful concept. Come on now, and there's so many ways you could have tackled that, in my opinion. So yeah, no, to do that storyline today would take some heavy modification.
Mhm.
And there's some people that showed up in there. So Paul was the one that kind of made the voices. 'Cause you see Peacemaker show up within the series. And this
Yeah.
is when he started hearing the voices in his head. Amanda Waller's tied into the series, obviously, running all the Black Ops and spy agency stuff within the DC universe. So Task Force-esque, Suicide Squad.
Yep.
And then, of course, you get other people that join in. Other characters like, Harvey Bullock at one point is a part of this. And you're going to think, Harvey who?
Yep.
I know the name. It's like, yeah, Batman Harvey Bullock
Oh.
is working in the agency and License to Kill. Okay. So this is what I thought was so cool about it is you don't know who's under the mask. So the concept for them was they can write multiple people in the costume doing multiple missions, and then it's only the reveal at certain points that, oh, it's not Gary that's in the costume this time. It's another guy that's in the costume,
Mhm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Who is the knight? Okay, so there we go. That's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was a really good story personally, and it's just I was slightly disappointed. I mean, I loved issues 1 and 2. They were really well paced.
Yes,
Issue 3 was rushed.
yeah, agreed.
I feel this should have been at least 4 issues. Probably could have done 6.
Oh yeah, just to build it more with Gary, right?
Yeah.
Just because he's
Yeah.
the narrative at this point, along with I can't remember her name right now, the one they kidnap, they bring in, they drug her and
Blackthorn.
bring her in. Huh?
Blackthorn.
Blackthorn, thank you. Right, and so you're seeing it from their perspectives. He's established within the organization, and she's coming in and learning about it. And as the reader, we go through Blackthorn's eyes to see who's there and the whole hierarchy within um, that organization, which I loved it. I wish they didn't change it. And then you know, and some stories were hit and miss, but the fact that there's a lot of spy characters within DC, or and I'm talking like old school. Maybe people don't remember them. You know,
Mhm.
I know I might screw up the names. Larry, you'll correct me if I'm wrong. I know there was Faraday,
Yes, King Faraday.
King Faraday. That was one, right? As a detective spy. And then there was not Steel. He had a steel hand.
Sergeant Steele.
Sergeant Steele. Thank you. See, okay. So all those characters are just waiting around to do something.
Slam Bradley.
Okay, thank you, Slime Bradley. All those characters are waiting around to do something that fit into that world, and then
Yep.
on top of it, they can use other ones that are still around that would still fit, because the whole thing is it's non-powered humans monitoring the world in a superhero world. So you can do missions where they have to team up with Dave Carson, for example, right? That would kind of make sense if they did that right.
Mm-hmm.
They could team up with the Sea Devils, right? Like bring them in as contract to work with them, for whatever case it be.
That's
They
it.
should be, I mean,
I can see this.
yeah.
Yeah.
To me, they should have worked with more people like that, bring them in. They didn't have to be officially part of Checkmate, but it would be nice to have them there. And I think the whole premise of Checkmate is it should almost be a Batman mentality of there's a lot of superpowered people around. What happens if one goes bad? We need to have contingency plans.
Facts. And
That's how I would have kind of tackled it. Sorry, Rod, go ahead.
No. I just segue off the same way, because I mean, you don't want to make it sound like you're cloning the Shield type of approach, but
Right.
you can definitely start with that basis of having a government organization that handles that, but then go into the what if contingency type of mindset to have, because that's different than Shield. Shield doesn't really have that kind of mindset.
No.
So
No.
if Checkmate were to have that, again, to go by the name, something's going wrong, Checkmate, and they'll just go in and do what they have to do to minimize this situation, to handle a super being, and just give them some type of power or mental power of saying, like, you know what, we are not stranded. Again, like you said, there's no one on that team or in that organization who are super beings. They're all in hands of to the best of their ability, fully work out. Strength levels are just like they're just like a top tier type of Batman, and that's really what it is.
And even then, like at one point in the storyline, like this is later on, I think this is volume 2, they did it, that Bruce Wayne gets a bodyguard, but then she doesn't know that he's Batman, and when it kind of comes out, she ends up joining Checkmate. Okay, that's so you figured something like that would brought over, but this is where I think it brings in. So hold on, Larry, did you have a list of everyone's rank laid out?
Oh, how they're laid out? Yeah.
You mean like the kings and queen? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I got it. I got it.
Go for it.
So the agency basically lays out like this. You have one king and one queen at the time, at the beginning. That changed later so that you had 2 sides.
Yes.
So you had the white king and the black king and so forth. But at first it was just one queen, which was Amanda.
Yep.
And a king, which was a character named Harry Stein, who was a cop, New York cop.
Mm-hmm.
And he also was, Gary's partner back when they were New York cops.
Yes.
So he's the one who brought Gary in.
Right.
And then you had several bishops. Bishops basically were the guys who stayed basically back at base and handled what's going on there. Which amongst them was Harvey Bullock.
Yep.
And then you had your Rooks. Rooks were basically the best way to say that character, what the Rook was the handler. He's the guy out in the field working with the agent, but he's not actually doing any of the stuff himself.
Right.
Yep.
He's planning and such.
Strategist. But just strategist,
yep.
basically.
Basically, yeah. And then you have your pawns, and your pawns are the guys who make sure that everything's there for support. You need a car, it's parked around the block from where you're at.
Yep.
You need a motorcycle, it's dropped off somewhere. And so forth and so on. And
you see, with that, it's funny, like the pawns are basically AKA the squires. Like if you're thinking like joisting and stuff along that line, you know, for the knights and kings and stuff like that. Now you have to keep it chess related. But if you think of knights and all that kind of stuff, the pawns would basically be AKA the squires. So
which is what they are on the chessboard.
Exactly.
So now I really like the way that Gary worked with his pawn, who also should have been a knight. And I think he does become one later in the series.
Right. Yes, he does.
Reed. And those are the only two I'm casting in this, because forget the rest of it. It's too busy when we get to casting.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
exactly. I didn't even know if I'm going to go there or not. I'm thinking about it still, but yeah. And the thing with the pawn is supposed to work his way up. That's the goal. The pawn works his way up to become a knight. The knight's trying to work up to become a rook. And then so forth within the organization, right? And I know that, you know, Gary's pawn was very flamboyant. It reminded me a little bit of Chuckles from G.I. Joe, right? Very over the top, flashy. He was like a kind of a Bond Johnson, you know, Miami Vice kind of character. Like, that's how he played around. And once again, it was 88.
Yeah, I always thought of him as more as Magnum.
You saw more as Magnum, really?
Interesting.
Yeah. The car, the
right.
I guess so.
yeah. Minus the mustache. Okay, I can definitely go with that. Absolutely. So, and I know like the volume 1 of Checkmate, you know, it went from issue 1 to issue 33. And it had a lot of stories in there, but I would say I think it was I can't remember if it was issue 24 or 26, and forgive my memory. They went through a whole cross story called the Janus Directive.
Oh, the Janus Directive.
The Janus Directive is a lot of the information that these spy agencies had got stolen, and it was starting to get out there. And then people were turning, I think it was on Amanda Waller, and you know, and it was a whole thing that went in on this. And this is funny in a sense. I'm sitting here with my Cold Slither album behind me, and you'll see why. So the Janus Directive starts off, and then it goes across multiple titles. So the Flash, Wally West Flash, gets drawn into it, right? I think from a superhero point aspect. But then Manhunter, so Mark Shaw, Manhunter, who we've covered on the show before, he's a part of this. Of course, Checkmate gets a part of this. Hold on, is it? I think Peacemaker is a part of this. Peacemaker, and I know there's a couple other heroes that I'm overlooking at this point, but it was many like I said, a multi comic book thing where you had to get this issue to tie in this issue. So a lot of tie-ins were happening. Some didn't make sense, but the rest of them really pushed that narrative. And the whole thing is who was behind the Janus Directive? Like, who was the main person? Who was the one?
Who's the bishop? The man called Bishop.
Yep.
And it went through Checkmate, Suicide Squad, Manhunter, Firestorm, and Captain Atom.
Right. Yes. Now, and hold on. So maybe I'm thinking about another storyline. So didn't it end up at one point being Cobra that was a part of this too? And I mean Cobra with the K.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
Yes. That okay. So my mind's not. So in DC Comics, DC Comics has a Cobra. You know, Marvel started off with Cobra from G.I. Joe, and And then, but before that, there was a Cobra spelt with a K instead of a C, who is a villain for the longest time. And he's shown, and he's one person with an organization, and they've shown up in various aspects, more so back in the day in the 70s and 80s. And then they kind of got away from that. So if you see the costumes, I think the costumes look good. Let's put it this way. Serpentor was influenced by his dress style. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. And Cobra was a lot like Hydra.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Yeah.
Yeah. 100% on that one. And I mean, even to the point where, back then, there sometimes villains got their own comic book. So Cobra had their own comic book. Like, there we go. How rare was it to have a villain have their own comic book? I don't think it went for many issues, but it still was there.
Yeah.
So Joker had his own comic book, and this is back in the day, Joker, Giant Penny Joker. Cobra had his own comic book. So we had that going back then. And of course, he had this secret society of super villains, right? Where Captain Comet was trying to infiltrate them, play like he was a bad guy, but he was really in there to be like a double agent. But anyways, so the whole Janus Directive was so cool because it was the collapse of all the spy organizations within the DC universe, and who betrayed them, who was going to come out on top, how was that going to play off. And it really put a lot of heat on Amanda Waller at the time, because she's got her own objective. There we go. That's the best way I can describe that overall. Should be reading, but find the trade. There we go, people. Find the trade. So, and then of course, what was cool about Checkmate is they dealt with us. They dealt with terrorism. They dealt with a lot of political things at the time, So it was like a Cold War era spy unit. Paul and Steve were really the ones to kind of put it together. And I think we can do more. Let's put it this way. In 1988, the Knight had a hidden blade. If you're into video games and you know about the hidden blade, you're playing Assassin's Creed. You know. Before Assassin's Creed, he had a hidden blade, right? Like the costumes were all explained. I think they did a breakdown also in Who's Who at one point, talking about Checkmate the organization. And I think that's it. I got a passion for it, man. I'm sitting here in my Shazam shirt. Like, I'm not saying he would have joined them. I'm just saying that they would have known something about him.
Yeah.
They got divisions. So Eddie, what's your thoughts before we maybe try to get into some fan casting here? Because I was trying to think of someone, and I'm I think I'm only gonna go maybe with one person at this point. Maybe two. We'll see. But yeah.
All right.
So what are your extra thoughts there, Rod?
No, I mean everything you guys are saying, it's a good layout about the whole organization. Checkmate itself, again, to me, looks like it's bigger than what it perceives to be, and there's a lot of opportunity to intertwine them into the DC universe, better than what it hasn't been done properly. I will say, because my mind is now thinking in the anime aspect of it, because comic book wise, yes, we know it's there, but giving it a little forefront kind of visual, it can come into DCU, it can go to DCU anime. It should be there a little bit better than more than just word say.
Yeah.
So if they have even done that, and now my head has been always trying to rack just since we've started this, thinking, have I heard it in the anime aspect of it? DCU, I know for sure no, to my recollection. But this is what I'm saying. So I'm kind of like leaning off into what we're gonna fan cast it and everything along that line.
Right. Right.
That's where my mind is with that.
Yeah, because the only touch we get in DCU is really the end of season 2 with Peacemaker, right? They kind of drop hints on season 2 in Peacemaker, but once again, they're going with like the volume 2 version of Checkmate or the volume 3 version of Checkmate, not volume 1, which
not the initial.
Grave oversight on that one. Like, shame on you, James Cameron. Should have start with 0 and work your way up.
Yeah.
So Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What about yourself, Larry? What are you thinking overall? When
Well,
compared
I
to
mean, I
Fancastic?
thought it was a good series. If I was going to bring it back, I keep art. I keep most of the original.
Mm,
I would adjust to a little bit of volume two, where you get the two kings, the two queens,
yeah.
and so forth. Just because I'd want the organization to work out kind of like they did in volume two, where one was supposed to be actual field stuff and one was supposed to be logistics.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but other than that, and I would cut down on from volume one on the amount of rooks and such
Mm,
that you had out there. I kind of put it like, yeah, you're going to have two bishops under, and then have like maybe four rooks, and then so you don't have too large an organization. That was the
okay, so
one
you're gonna
thing I
trim it.
thought
You would trim it down.
got a little too far, especially
Yeah.
when you get to the end of issue three, where you've got like 7, 8 knights hitting the compound that the racists are at,
Yeah. Yeah.
and um, it just that showed you how that kind of showed you how big the organization was, but it also was like you got too many guys who were just cannon fire.
Right. Right. Yeah, I
I
can see
mean,
that. I can see that. I can see
yeah,
that. So you're looking
yeah,
for more of
okay,
a trimmed down
yeah,
organization.
yeah, trim down,
Okay.
but still with the same hierarchy.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Cool.
And now I'll go ahead and jump into my fan casting real quick. I was caught between two brothers to be Gary. Um, I was either going to go with Edwin Hodge, but I came up with Aldous Hodge,
Oh.
who you would
Okay.
most likely know as Hawkman
Hmm.
from the terrible Black Adam movie.
Here I am in my Shazam shirt. Shazam! Huh?
Yeah, that kind of worked out, didn't it?
It did. It did. Great minds think alike.
These guys are funny.
Yeah. And then I would also cast Reed. Um, Probably won't know this actor. He's only been in a few movies. Um, uh, his name is Peebo Powell. Some of the movies he's been in is like The Antidote, Children of Sorrow, uh, things like that. So,
Okay.
he's worth
The
looking
name
up.
sounds familiar.
Yeah, that's all I'm
Yeah.
like trying to think. Hmm. All
The
right.
name sounds familiar.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I like that. I like that. So that's your Gary, right? So you're Gary Washington. Got it.
Gary and Reed.
Okay. Gary and Reed. Okay. 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 Cool. See, for myself, I really just went with Gary first and foremost, and I'm
Mhm.
going with a an actor for Gary, and his name is Neil Brown Jr.
Hmm.
Right? He's more of a stuntman, does martial
Mhm.
artist, actor, and he's shown up in a lot of properties, like The Equalizer, SEAL Team, SEAL Team. He showed up in Bel Air, Insecure, last night in Rousey, right? So he's done a lot of stuff. But yeah, Neil Brown, uh, Jr. I was thinking about maybe as my Gary. My first instinct was to go with Michael J. White,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
But but if I want to do it that way a little bit different, I think that's how I kind of
Yeah.
bounce that one off, and that's
Oh,
really how
and
it
the one
is.
thing I forgot to say is I want this as a series like CW series.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, all right, series, got it. Yes, absolutely. So I see you there. So you got your actors series, perfect. Myself, definitely, I'm not going with a movie because if they did Peacemaker as that kind of HBO Max series, I would go HBO Max series. Give me a couple episodes because I a movie it doesn't have enough time to get into the organization,
Exactly.
right? It's just going to be a one and done. So I going back with Gary Washington because he was the one that started in the field, and then to if I had to pick somebody who would have been Blackthorn,
Hmm.
yeah, that's someone that's going to come in there, um, and be in the organization, be that way. I haven't really
Oh. I know
because
who
the
I
way
go with.
okay, because the reason I'm saying that is because the way I'm looking at it is I want someone that's in the organization that's established that Gary was, right? So we get it from that perspective.
Mhm.
And then of course, Blackthorn coming in as another narrative, like really just how it did in a comic book, right? So a dual perspective of, yeah, I mean, I know everything already, and the other one is like kind of discovering, and then the two of them playing off that each other would help advance the story for casual readers to people who are brand new to the project, and you can go along with either perspective. And of course they do intertwine and match up. So Blackthorn, shoot. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have
I
anyone right. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with a thorn, Bella.
Oh geez. Bella Thorne. Okay. All right then. Bella Thorne. Okay, Blackthorn. All right. Okay. Good. Good. What about yourself, Rod? Did you have any ideas of who would do something here for this series?
So for me, I was keeping it open in the sense that I didn't find cast because I was going with anime. And I was kind of like, I was going to go to anime aspect of it. And I was kind of trying to center from the organization outward in
Hmm.
regards to giving the little splash of shield, like I was saying earlier, but being more intertwined in reaction and connections with the superhero community. So I wanted to go from the aspect of James Gunn, Creature Commando. So I
Ah.
wanted to pull it from there. Like you got Creature Commando, you got Suicide Squad. Okay, we're gonna have
Right.
to have an organization that's kind of like not centered, not overseeing all of that, but at
Hmm.
least have some type of interaction. So have the I wanted to have the Batman type of mindset, the Green Arrow type of mindset. Like you're a hero, you're a normal non-super being
Yes.
interacting with super beings
Hmm.
in some type of way. So
Yeah.
with that, what I again, I'm Creature Commandos, the way they infuse that, they just have so much action in there that you can really see that this can really work. But you really need it to have you don't have the budget to do that, so we're gonna have to go anime. So I
Right.
wanted to have that type of feel from Creature Commandos, have it from having from that standpoint, that kind of point of view, that time frame, um, intertwining Suicide Squad. But let's have the Knights. Have them how are they operating espionage, doing black ops, doing stuff that is, I have to say, back to grounded type of action, grounded type of missions that you can see, okay, like we made the comment saying like he's like a James Bond type of scenario. He's how are they doing that kind of interaction to fulfill Black Ops missions? What are they doing? I guess the words I'm trying to say is what are they doing? There is an organization that is in between the CIA level, the
Yeah.
suicide power type of level.
Yeah.
What are these guys doing right in between that they're
Right.
doing stuff that is tagging up and tagging down in that realm.
Yeah.
You have to basically break in to defuse a government or whatever the case to be. They may interact with super beings. How are they going to handle that? And then they still got to do espionage, other type of stuff that we would normally expect. That's the view I wanted to have them in. So if they interact with a super being who has some type of powers, whatever the case to be, how are they flipping themselves out of that? How are they escaping that kind of scenario?
Hmm.
So I wanted to go with anime on that. So with that point, I have no really particular need for a particular voice actor. Only one I would want to have is Viola, so we can still keep Amanda
Oh yeah.
Wallace in there, so we know her from there, so she can still stem off.
Right.
And if they do, they can bring in a Suicide Squad. They can bring in something else, but she is still the current Amanda Wallace that we know vocally and audibly. I want
Right.
to bring
Amanda
her
Waller. Yeah. 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 To
and
tie
keep
it
her.
all
So
together.
she's the tie that binds, if you want to call it that way.
Okay. Yeah. That's nice. And I get you. Like I see, and how the difference, I know Larry wanted more of a trimmed down organization. For me, I like the big organization. If it's supposed to rival Shield, let it rival Shield. But then let them see other agents sometimes walking in the background. And then here's the biggest thing I gotta say. Let's not assume they're talking about somebody. I don't want to hear about, oh yeah, there's a vigilante in Gotham. No, say Batman.
Yeah.
Say Superman,
Say
you know, in the TV show. You don't have to see, you don't have to hear them. Say it. Write it on the board in the background. Oh yeah, Superman fought Lex Luthor, and you know, so
100%.
yeah, don't give me the innuendos anymore. We all know if you're trying to make a shared universe, make a shared universe.
That's
Um,
it.
the only other thing storyline I would go with is maybe put a reporter in there. Like, I know that's a common trope, but let that reporter try to figure out who this night person is to a certain degree, and see what happens if they get, you know, okay, well, you figured out who our knight was. By the way, here's your options. It's either go to jail or pretty much you join our organization.
Right.
And it's like, well, I'll join your organization. We weren't going to put you in jail. We just wanted you talents with us. Thanks. Welcome to Checkmate. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
along that line
Yeah.
too. I think would be kind of fun. So
100%.
that
Yeah.
is
But, you know,
awesome.
I want to do something like, you know, do like a mini series type of scenario. You mean like a three seasons along that line. And to add to that point, have the reporter have the op going on for, like, say, out of a six episode season, the first five we're seeing from the point of view of the knight, of Checkmate and everything like that. Then you start seeing episode 6 and 7, you start hearing about, okay, I got to report, all this stuff is happening. Now we start seeing, you know, now we're getting a 2 point of view of the reporter
Yeah.
starting to, you know, figure it out. Let the reporter be like TV show in basically DC, the Incredible Hulk. Who's the reporter that kept chasing him down, like going from freaking city to city?
Oh,
Banner
Jack
had to
McGee.
run. Yes, McGee.
McGee.
Let's have a McGee. Let's have a McGee. Episode 6, episode 7 coming in, and you know, every time there's a little segment of him trying to get some notes, whatever, but he's not the focal point. Then for like 9, 10, Checkmate's like, listen, this guy keeps following. I'm getting tired. Can someone address it? Can we address it? Can someone really address it? Let's go.
Yes.
You got big money?
Big.
Someone address it. Pull him in.
Yeah.
Then we go into your segue. We've been watching you watching us. We're getting tired. You're either in or out, or we're gonna take your life. Yeah, we're just joking. Yeah, we're not that bad. We're not gonna kill him.
Yeah.
Just welcome in.
Yeah. But see, I mean, the reason why I wanted to tear down and be a series is this way I can focus in on the relationship of Washington and Reed as partners, you know, and then you have Thorne,
Right.
she's coming in like off to the side, set up like I said, like a CW series, but HBO, you're right, HBO Max, someplace where it can be more adult.
Yeah.
And then when we do the first storyline, it's maybe 6 episodes, maybe it goes full season. Next year, we focus on another night, kind of like what's the HBO series with the police? True Detective?
Yes.
Okay. I see what you're doing.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Again, because there's more than one. So why not?
Very true. And I'll say this as a last thought for myself, and we can go and start wrapping it up. So, last thought for myself is I like what we're all talking about. I think no matter what direction you took it from our 3 point of views, we have to cover the Janus Directive. So, whatever, be it if it's anime, series, they got to do the Janus Directive storyline before they end the series, and I think that would be a nice way to end it and leave it open ended that way. So that's my whole thing. And then in comic books, I know we're always doing crossovers in comic books. This would have been a beautiful thing to cross over another secret organization that I mentioned before. Let the the assassins team up with Checkmate from Assassin's Creed. They both got hidden blades. There's some similarities there. They're both trying to stop. I think that would be cool, and bring in the DC Cobra, right? Like that's just me forward thinking, if that was it. But I'm talking volume 1. That
Or if you get Archie,
Yeah.
or if you can get Archie Comics to come in, you can get the Web.
Yes.
Independent organization.
Right.
Oh my God.
That should be part of the Janus Directive. Like bring the Web in, do the Janus Directive, and have that. So many parts. Yo, DC. Whenever you're ready to hire any of us for ideas or writing, please let us know. We'll do sponsorship. We just need interviews, salary, and all that to go for it.
So with that. Yeah.
Yes. Gentlemen, any other last thoughts, gentlemen, before we wrap this episode up?
No,
we're good.
We're good. Well, everyone, thank you once again for tuning into the iConis podcast. Icon was Checkmate. And yes, sometimes it's not a person, sometimes it's an organization, right? We all intertwine, and so if you enjoyed the show, please like, subscribe, and share. Don't let the show be a secret. Let's say we got a coffee page, we got a Patreon page. You know where to find us. and respectively, and let's have a good time. And as I like to say, this whole world is created by a pencil, a piece of paper, and lots of imagination. Keep on dreaming. Larry, hit him with it. What's the tagline, Larry?
Keep reading, keep writing, keep drawing. You're all creators, and we are in your corner.
Absolutely. Until then, we're out. Secret agent man, secret agent man.
It's gonna go knight to bishop, but that kind of takes it right there. I'm out.
Take care, everyone.
Checkmate. Checkmate.